I'm not very good at this, but maybe with a little practice, I could tell myself to relax it. Will be better next time I try. And even if I still can't do it, yeah, you know that I'm gonna stick to it. Yes, it's all about going through it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Whoopsie, whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see I'm better at this today. Woo! Whoopsies, whoopsie, whoopsie, whoopsies.
I'm a little embarrassed when I look at my drawing compared to this. I'm just not getting anywhere with this. It makes me wanna hide. Aw, don't be embarrassed. Don't hide.
You should have seen mine the first time I tried. It took a lot of whoopsies to look this way.
No one's perfect on their first day. Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay.
It's okay. Whoopsies are what it takes to get better and better every day. Whoopsie, 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 whoopsie.
Well, what about this? I want to jump rope, but nope, I just can't do it.
Well, not yet. Come on and practice with me. You'll see there's nothing to it.
Whoa! Whoopsie.
Whoopsies, I made a mistake and it's okay. It's okay. Whoopsies, help me look, see I'm better at this today. Woo!
It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. I know it's hard, we'll fall before it's too late. Wake up, my love, please don't give up on me. It's hard. Wake up. It was only a dream, the waves of evil crashing over us. It was only a weak and faithful scream beneath the battlements. But I know it's hard. We'll fall before it's too dark. Wake up, my love. Please don't give up on me.
What is up? What is up, you guys? We are back at it again. Another epic day here in 100 days of Rootkit. Last day of Python for a little bit, alright? So let's take a breather. Let's knock out these challenges. Let's see some things again, alright? We're getting close, alright? We're getting close to the end of our 100 days adventure, alright? Stick it in a little bit longer. This is the important stuff, all right? This is the super important. Well, everything's important, but this one is also very important too. So, awesome, awesome, awesome. Before we go any further, let us just do our little recap here, just in case you aren't tracking. We are Rootkit, a non-profit organization based here in the US of A. We do lots of things for free, like 100 Days of Rootkit, where we're teaching you everything you need to know in order to get our computer science certificate, which is a complete alternative to a computer science degree, and we're not even comparable to any boot camp out there on the market. We are just that much better than all the others, all right? Not even close. Additionally, on top of all this free stuff we're doing, if you go to our site and click on blog here, you'll go over to our blog. The week 8 giveaway just ended at the beginning of the stream. So the week 9 will be up and available at the end of this stream. So make sure you go in there and you participate on the week 9 giveaway to win some free merch. We'll be polling the winner for this giveaway tomorrow during our chill Q&A. Every Sunday it's chill Q&A. Pretty much just here, available, answering questions, all right? Anything from any of the previous days, all the way back to day 1. So join and ask questions, all right? It's your time. It's your time. Additionally, if you like what we're doing and you want to help support us, because doing stuff for free is very, very expensive, there's a link in the description and in the Twitch bio where you can donate here. All donations are being matched 1-for-1 for the first 10,000 donations. On top of that, depending on how much you donate, you can unlock certain rewards, like our epic stickers, our collab t-shirt, and this epic sweater here. Look, I got it on right now. Even says Rootkit on the back. This thing is extra thick, and I just noticed that the music is not playing. Why is this music not playing? There we go. We also have pillars along the way, like streaming for 24 hours straight, shaving my head here live on stream, and the one no one wants to see because I'll lose my magical powers, and that's going to be shaving my beard. Alright, shaving my beard. So, we last left off with our game here. Alright, with our little game here, and we gave a little assignment, alright, a little test. And I saw some of you guys were trying to tackle it. I got Evox's answers here. I did not get around to responding because I'm chilling on the weekend a little bit. Alright? Alright? But these are all great answers, you guys. And I think Evox hit it straight on the head, to be honest, from what I saw here. So we'll go ahead and use his as an example, alright? So, refresher. The assignment was make 2 more bosses and then have it randomly choose one of those bosses. Alright? Randomly choose one of those bosses to spawn every time a boss spawns every 3 levels. Alright? So, there were several ways you can go about it. It looks like he went about it by just adding all the bosses to this tree file. Alright? So, he added 2 more bosses. I'm going to go and steal his code and paste it right here. So he made these 2 extra bosses. That is a way to do it. You can also have these in their own file. That is also a different way to do it. They are both correct. They are both fine. As you can see, Sun Boss, Moon Boss named it Scorch, and Dark Death gave it a health of 60 and a health of 70, and different types of drops for both of them. That's super epic. I like it. And then over in our main, he modified, where's the spawning of the bosses? Right here. Modified this. And he decided to utilize this command. Now this is not going to work for us right now because we have to remember, we have to import these other bosses. So let's scroll up to the top here. We add them all to this tree file. So if we just do a comma here, we can easily import the rest of them. All right. So there was, what other bosses were there? Tree. Put this off to the side. All right, we got our sun boss, so I'll go ahead and grab that. And we got our moon boss, so I'll go ahead and grab that one too. Oh, uh-oh, what was that? There we go. So moon boss and sun boss are now being imported. All right, let's scroll down here to the bottom. Looks like we have an issue with random. If we hover over it, it says random is not defined. We're probably not importing random. So let's scroll up to the top and see. Looks like we're not importing random. So let's go ahead in here and be a little random and import random. There we go. So this is a new function we have not gone over called random choice. All right, random choice. This will work. Looks like he did some Googling to figure out how to randomly choose or have it randomly choose between these choices. So let's run this and see if it works. So if we run our game and we start our game, we'll see that we attack some goblins. We attacked a goblin, we attacked a goblin, and we attack Cedar. All right. So let's rerun our game again and see if we get a different boss. Goblin, 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 and dark death. So it is working. We are randomly choosing one of these bosses to spawn when we hit level 3 and every consecutive level 3 following that, because we're using that modulus symbol. All right. Any questions on this? Let me pull back up the chat here. Any questions on this at all? Great job, Evox. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Probably, I would say, even more beautiful than what I was going to show. All right. How I was going to show we could go about doing this is that we have our bosses and we can randomly, well, basically, yeah, putting them all on a list here called bosses, and then making a random number. So I'm going to comment this line. All right. And then doing bosses, and then saying inside of here, we need to choose one of the bosses. We can say instead random dot rand int, and then choose between 0 and the length of bosses. So this is how I would have done it, but to be honest, I like your way better. I think that is actually a far superior way. I'm gonna be honest, I've never personally used random.choice before. All right, so this is really good for everyone to know. All right, we all learn new things. The libraries and languages here are massive. All right, it's almost impossible to know it all. All right, it's just so much and it grows all the time. So this, I like this. I give it 2 thumbs up. That's the pro gamer move right there. I see Kwai says, how y'all doing? I'm doing good. All right, I've been chilling today, kicking back, playing some Zelda. That's right, some good old Zelda. Popped it on and I realized with the expansion pack, I got a lot more to do. All right, I got a lot more to do. I have not finished that game up, and the new one's about to release soon. And all this game development we're doing here just makes me want to play games now. Alrighty, let us chug on forward. All right, let us chug on forward. So I'm gonna comment out the way I would have done it, and I'm gonna keep in the way that Evox did it because I like that way better. When holding down command and clicking on super, what that window file that pops up? So if you click on super, let's see if we can find a super. So if we click on super right here, this is going to take you to the OG Python language code. All right, this right here is the actual language itself, and a lot of the underlying code that makes Python a language. All right, so you can actually look at everything that comes with the language that's built in. As you can see here, there's a lot of stuff that's built in here. You can see they use lots of typing. All right, so they got int, and it's going to return an int. So this is the raw code, and as I showed you guys, this is a great example right here. Everything is an object. Everything is made by a class. So you can see here the float. What is a float? A number with decimal points. That's right. That is straight up a class, and we can see that class right here. It's been made, it's been defined. All right, it's literally anything. So there's things called complex numbers. I'm surprised. Oh, here's integers. All right, it's also a class. All right, so everything is a class in object-oriented programming. So everything you do in Python is a class, whether you realize it or not. So that's what I'm trying to get across to you guys. So yeah, feel free. You can look at all the underlying Python code you want. Maybe you can find out some new things like this ... they're doing right here, and this @property. So we know what @property does, right? That's for the custom getters and setters. All right. Let's see. Now, there's lots of goodness. You can look around in here and see how the people that make this language themselves are going about doing things. All right. Some of this stuff may be in a little bit of a compressed state. As you can see, this is kind of in a compressed state, not really. It's just a lot of stuff that's listed out because it's a lot of the underlying language. But I'm gonna go and close that out. That's something that's something for your own exploration on another day. So our game's been going pretty good so far. There is kind of a piece that's missing right now. We're picking up items, and that's cool and all, but we're not able to really switch our items, and also we're not really there's not really consumables that keep us like living on further. So why don't we make it so we can switch our items, and so we can consume so we can consume things. All right, so we can consume things. So there's a bunch of ways we can go about this, like everything so far. All right, so let's kind of think about it. We have an inventory, and our inventory has weapons in it right now. All right, also how we have our looting set up is our looting is not in a loop, so we only get to loot one item out of the inventory. Maybe that's how you want to have it. Maybe it's not. We're going to keep it like this for our sake, all right? But if you wanted the looting to go on further, you can just put this in a while loop, all right? We're going to keep it like this for now. It would be really great if we could live maybe a little bit longer also, all right? If we could live a little bit longer, all right? So maybe we should add some type of basic potion consumable. Yeah? Basic potion consumable. So basic potion consumable, we need to be able to consume that item and gain our health back, and we need to switch our weapons out. So we got 3 little tasks for us here to accomplish. So remember, 1 bit at a time. So let's just start with consumable, shall we? So let's just make a consumable. All right, what is a consumable? An item you can consume. That can be eating, that can be drinking, that can be spraying it on your skin. All right, it's being consumed, it's being used. All right, so it's a very general term. So this is where, again, you want to, even though you may not know right away if you're going to have more consumables in your game or not, etc., it's great to make more overarching parent classes and then subclasses, inherited classes underneath it, all right? Like an actual potion. That way you have potential ease of creating objects later on, all right? So let's go ahead inside of here, and I would say consumables are their own big thing themselves. We could potentially have a lot of consumables in a game. So I would argue that dictates us making a folder here in lib for just our consumables. So consumables. Maybe I spelled that right. Maybe I didn't. We're going to trek forward. All right. And I'm going to make a file in here called consumable.py. All right. Consumable.py. So we're going to make a consumable in here. Now, of course, like all things, we're going to go ahead and just, I don't know, look at weapon and copy that code and then paste it in here because, hey, we're little thieves, all right? We steal our own code so we don't have to type things, all right, from scratch. So I'm going to change the name of this class to consumable. Now we need to kind of think. I'm going to remove all this extra stuff right here. So consumables. What do consumables have? Well, maybe a name. That would be a good start. All right, remember, a little bit at a time. And this is like our broad consumables, right? Broad consumables. So any type of consumable. So maybe potentially, you know, what its name is. Let's go and write that down here. So self.name. And we need to get this name from somewhere. So let's go ahead and have it a required argument, right? Required argument that we need to be told what the name of this consumable will be. What else? All right, what else? Depending on how you make your game, this could be lots of items in here, or it could be not. It could be things like maybe the health that you're going to give back, or if you have like resistances, so fire resistance, and maybe the duration of the fire resistance, and other etc. things. Like it could be a very, very long list of items in here. So we don't really have any of those concepts going on, but we do have health. So we could have a concept of how much health is restored. And by default, it would be 0. Oops, if I can type right. Because a default consumable just will have 0 across the board. Maybe there's a, what's the word for it? Regeneration. So like health regeneration. So maybe like every level, they will regen health. And this will say how much health they regen. And maybe you also need to include how many levels it will last for. So regen level length equals 0. I'm just going to call this regen. I guess regen health would be more of an appropriate name. All right, so we have the straight up health that might be healed, the regen health, so how much they'll regen, and then this will tell us how long it will regen for, so how many levels they'll automatically regenerate health. And again, you can continuously expand this for whatever game you're doing, like self dot cure fire, self dot cure static, self dot cure whatever. And you can do the same thing that we have kind of set up here. So you would be, you know, self dot cure fire, and then self dot cure fire level length, and then etc, etc, etc. We also are finding ourselves by doing this. So if we were doing something like this and cure static length, let me do self dot cure static length. So as you can see here, this is fine. Oh, look, we're not going to fully implement this stuff at all. This is kind of just a concept for you guys. Doing this is fine, and you can list them all out. And maybe that's what you need to do. That is one way to do it. But additionally, always think whenever you see a reoccurring pattern in your code, think about, can I make this more dry? Does it need to be more dry? Should I make another class for this? All right? That's for you to decide, because it always depends, right? It always depends. So that's for you to think about, all right? Depending on who you ask, they'll have all types of different answers, all right? So I'm going to remove this and we'll just keep this here for now. So we're not really going to be using regen health or level length. We're just going to heal for a straight amount of health. And when you do consume it, how are we going to do this? Sorry guys, I'm just thinking right now for the consumable. We're just gonna go very simple, right? We're gonna go very simple right now. Don't think about this more and make it better if you are gonna make a game. All right, this is gonna be just a simple way, just so we can build our class knowledge. All right, so let's make a new file in here, and let's call this our potion.py. All right, our potion.py. We want to inherit from consumable. So let's go ahead and import consumable in here so we can inherit from it. So we're gonna have to do a from lib.consumables.consumable import consumable. All right, with a capital C. And then we're gonna do our class potion inherit from consumable. And of course, like always, we got our def __ init __ self, and now we have made our class. Right now we have made our class. So what we're gonna do in here is we gotta run that super, right? Because we want to initialize everything from the parent class. So we'll say self dot __ or not self, super dot __ init. And we got to give it a name. So the name is going to be potion. All right, because that's what we're making here. We're making potions. And the potions are going to heal, right? They're going to heal. And so how much are they going to heal by? Let's say our potions heal by 20 HP. Name and amount. Does it go to 15, 25, 50, or 100? What do you mean by that, Kamal? You can ignore. Okay. All right. So we made our potion here. It's going to be healing for a certain amount of health, right? For a certain amount of health. So this is where I think we pretty much accomplished this task, right? We've pretty much accomplished this task. So now we need a way to be able to consume this, right? And when we do consume it, it needs to heal our health, right? It needs to heal our health. So we should make some logic in here, maybe like def.consume. So when you consume your potion, it will heal some health. But we need to know whose health we're going to be healing, right? Whose health we're going to be healing. So we want to be healing the player's health. So let's get player in here. So that way we can heal their health. Now by default, this doesn't know what player is. It doesn't know, it's never seen player before. So what we can do is we can utilize typing, because right now if we type in player dot, it won't give us any recommendations about player. So if we import hero, which is what player was made from, all right, because player is the object, hero was the class that made it. If we import that and then do our typing right here, and tell Python what type of variable player is, then we'll get our options. So if we do a from lib.hero import hero, now we have this hero class. And that hero class, what did I just do? This hero class is the type of variable player is. So remember, if you do variable : and then the type of the variable, which is hero in this case, bam. Now when we do dot at the end of player, we get all the options that player has. So we can go ahead and say current health, but this may be glitchy. All right, this may be glitchy because we might heal past the current health. But additionally, it's not the responsibility of the consumable to know what the max health is of whoever is healing. So this may be a time where you might think of this and have to go back to hero to add some additional code. Maybe a function called heal, all right, which will allow you to heal, and it will have custom logic to know how much to heal, if there's any heal modifiers going on, and what your maximum health is. All right, so if we go to hero, the hero itself will know, how healthy they are. So they are going to be responsible for adding additional health to themselves with potentially some logic and rules around it. So if we go here, we can make a new method called heal. All right, and this will take some type of value to heal them by. All right, so let's say heal amount. And for this, we're going to go ahead and do our self dot current health plus equals heal amount. If should we do it like, yeah, I'll just do it like this. All right. If the No, I don't like it. Let's do it like this. If the current health plus the heal amount is greater than the self dot max health, all right, then we'll do self dot current health equals self dot max health, and then we'll return, do our return here. Well, we can just do our else statement so you guys get more practice with that. Else, we're going to do self dot current health plus equals the heal amount. All right, I'll give you guys a second to write all that. So what's going on here? We have some custom logic going on when the player heals. All right, so anytime you want to heal the player, you should be going through this heal method, all right? Because this heal method will have custom logic around how the player should heal. Our game is very simple right now, so this logic isn't that crazy, all right? We just want to make sure we're not going over our max health. But again, if your game was more intense, maybe you have passive regen that's going on, or healing buffs that can happen, or yada, yada, yada. So all of that logic would be put here. So again, a consumable would have to tell the heal function how much it's supposed to heal for. That would be the heal amount. And then right below it is where your buffs and etc. would be calculated in for healing, all right? The player is responsible for their knowing how much they're supposed to heal by, all right? It's their responsibility. So that's, again, you gotta always think of who's responsible for what, all right? Who's responsible for what? All right, again, all this says, we've seen this logic before. I think it was in Fightable. But if the current health plus the healing amount is less than the max health, or sorry, if it's greater than the max health. If it's greater than the max health, we just want them to be set to max health. Otherwise, we want them to be healed, right? Otherwise, we want them to be healed. And we could add parentheses right here if we want to just make sure this logic is executed first, or maybe we just like, seeing things a little bit more ordered. If self.current health plus a heal amount is greater than self dot max health equals max health. I can't tell on screen, it's too blurry. Oh, look, I can zoom in a little bit more. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more clear for you. So, again, you know, just very, very basic logic, but we can make this more crazy, all right? We could make this, it could expand a lot more. The most important thing is just making sure you are thinking about it and putting things where they're supposed to go, or what's the more proper place for them to go. Because again, a consumable shouldn't have, or a potion here, shouldn't really have too much connection to the player, right? We do have a connection right now to the player, but it's purely for, what do you call it? It's purely for executing that heal command. What would be even better here, all right? Even better than what we're doing here is because you might have enemies that heal, right? And those, your hero and the enemies are all a part of what? That's right, the fightable class, right? The fightable class. So it would be more proper if we had this heal function in fightable instead. So that way, anything that's fightable would most likely be able to consume. So this would, instead of being tied to the player, it would be tied to anything that's fightable. All right? Anything that's fightable can now heal, and potions will now work on them out of the box. All right? So, what do you call it? So that's very, you know, something to think about. We're going to keep the game as it is right now, but that's something for you to think about. It would be more proper, right? It would be more proper if this was in fightable. All right? We're going to keep it where it is right now. So if you expand upon this, you know, in your free time, you're going to want to change things, because you're going to run into that roadblock, all right? I want you to run in that roadblock and see those issues and figure out how to resolve them. So right here in consume, we're going to go ahead and do player.heal, right? And in here, we're going to say how much we're going to heal them by. So this is going to execute over onto the player's end, and we're pretty much done here with our potion. All right, we're pretty much done here with our potion. Alrighty, so we've now made our potion. We've now made the logic for healing. All right, little steps at a time. The last step here would now make it so we can interact with the items that we've picked up. All right, so that would be things like switching our weapons and consuming potions that we pick up. Because we've been spawning all these weapons, some of them a little overpowered, like the nukes, all right? But we're not really being able to utilize them, all right? So we still have our basic, rusty sword that we have by default. What do we get on the hero by default? Yep, our rusty sword, all right? So let's upgrade our game here a little bit. So let's go and hop into main and kind of think about this. After looting, right here, when we're printing out the player's inventory, this is maybe where we want to, you know, set up a new menu. This menu could be, you know, really expanded upon, because this is where you could have it so the player can save their position and then quit the game, or do stuff with their inventory. So there's a lot of things you can do right here. For now, we're just going to make it so they have the option to mess with their inventory, right? Mess with their inventory. I don't know what 4 potions means. Not dabbered. I don't know why the amount of lines matter, but I don't know, a lot, a good amount. All right, let's see here. So we want a new menu here. luckily enough, that should trigger something in your brain, all right? Because we've made a menu, and we made the world's best menu in the whole entire world, because that menu is perfectly dynamic and allows us to reuse it multiple times. All right, imagine if you had to write your whole menu here and then write a whole custom menu code here, and now you have to write your whole custom menu code all over again here. That would be really terrible. But we made the class, so it's super easy for us to just generate and spin up new inventories. So or it's not inventory, sorry, menus. So instead we still want to print the player's inventory. All right, so this would be fine, but we kind of want to put each item from the player's inventory into what do you call it, into the menu, and then have that execute, like they're able to execute upon it, right? So if I see a weapon, if I select that weapon from the menu, it should become instantly my new primary weapon. Or if I select a potion, I should instantly consume it. All right, we'll kind of make our logic here the same as our looting, so you can only pick up one item per round, per level, and we'll make it also down here so you can only change your weapon once or consume one thing. All right, one or the other, because we're not going to wrap this in a while loop, so it's only going to run once per level. So let's go ahead and start here and make a new menu. All right, we need to make a new menu. So let's just do it right here after the print statement. Let's say our player inventory menu equals menu menu.menu. All right, so we made our brand new menu, and we said here that we want our menu to have every item in our inventory. Luckily for us, we already have this for loop here that's printing every item in our inventory. So instead, we can just add all of those items to the menu, right? Instead of printing them out. So we'll stay here and instead, player inventory menu dot add menu item. All right, and we need two items here. We need the text for it to display and the function. Well, we have the text, that's going to be item.name. Now we need a function for it to execute, a function for switching weapons, a function for consuming the potion. All right. Luckily, we have the consumable stuff done. The switching of weapons, not really. So now that we've come across this, if we didn't think about it before, we can now think about it now. So this is something to, be thinking about. This comes with experience. So the more and more you program, all right, the more and more you'll know in advance what you may or may not need to put in your class when you first make it. We need on our hero class a way to switch weapons, all right? A way to switch weapons. So let's go back to our hero class and let's call this def switch weapon. And we'll say that we're going to, we want the new weapon. All right, we want the new weapon. So we're going to just say in here, we expect a weapon, and it's going to be a weapon class. And we're going to make it so whatever weapon we currently have in our hand, we're going to make this game super punishing. We're just going to insta drop that weapon. So you're going to lose it, right? You're going to lose every weapon that you equipped. You'll have it equipped, and then if you ever replace it, it's just gone. All right, it's no more. So we're going to say self dot primary weapon is now equal to the new weapon. All right, so switch weapon needs the new weapon, and it will switch out that primary weapon for the new weapon. All right, for the new weapon. Let's see here. It needs to be dropped from the inventory. let me think here. Sorry, you guys, 1 second. Oh. Switch weapon. Player's inventory. Pass the weapon. It won't disappear from the inventory. Let's just Shrek forward for now, and we'll know we'll have a little bug. All right, we know we'll have a little bug, but let's take this one step at a time. All right, let's just go ahead and make this work, and then we'll try to figure out our bug afterwards. All right, what bug are we gonna have? Well, right now we don't really have a way to remove that weapon from the inventory, right? From our inventory. I think the only way to have it removed from our inventory would be we need to know what place it is in our, we could do that. Okay, so instead we'll say this is going to be the inventory index, and then we're going to do self.takeout inventory index. All right, so we'll do it this way. This way it fixes everything, because we need our inventory has the weapon. We want to take the weapon out, and when we take the weapon out, we want it to be completely gone from the inventory. I guess if we wanted also, we could move. All right, fine. We'll make it nice. All right, we'll say self.inventory.add, and then we'll add our current primary weapon. All right, so we're putting our current weapon that we have in our hand back in our inventory, and then we're taking out our new weapon from the inventory, and we're going to be holding in our hand. All right, so this is just going to do a little switcheroonie right here. So now over in our menu, we can add this in here as the function. Right, we can add this in here as the function. So if we do what am I going to type here? Switch weapon. Item dot no. This is going to be on the player dot switch weapon, and then we need to know which weapon we are switching out. So this is going to be our good friend in for item inventory contains. We want our good friend enumerate, because we need to know the index of all of our items. All right, we need to know the index of all of our items. So we'll go ahead and get the index. Let's go ahead and paste it right here. So now we have the name of the item. We know that we want the player to switch their weapon if they choose this, and the index. Oh my god. Thanks so much for that donation, Evox. Oh man, that noise scares me every time. It's so loud. Thanks so much, man. So this works. There's an issue though, in which you might have already found, or you're screaming right now at the top of your lung. This doesn't work if we pick up potions. You're right. This doesn't work if we pick up potions. All right, this does not work if we pick up potions. So how do we deal with potions? Consumables. All right, great question. All right, great question. We need logic. That's right, we need some logic, which means we need to add, that's right, some if statements. All right, specifically we need some if statements that will tell us whether the item in their inventory is a what do you call it, is a weapon or a consumable. This is one way to fix this issue. Another way to fix this issue is to have it so all items that could be put in the inventory have a common function. So instead of me calling player.switch here, every single item ever that we ever create would have like a .activate function or something attached to it that's common for everything. So at any time you want to activate or consume it or whatever you want to do, you would always call that. Not really the most realistic thing, all right? So most likely you will have to do something that we're about to do, which is add some logic. So whatever you're looking at in your inventory is going to have a custom activate function for it depending on what it is, all right? So if we want to, how do we tell if something is a weapon or not? All right, how do we tell if something is a weapon or not? That's a great question, right? That is a great question. We can tell whether it's a weapon or not if it is a part of the weapon class, if it was born from the weapon class. So every single object that you create knows what type of object it was originally like modeled after, what class it came from. It also knows all of its parents. So you can do filtering and if statements and logics based off that, all right? Based off that. We've kind of seen it a little bit, all right? We've kind of seen it a little bit, and now I'm going to kind of clarify it with this if statement. If we do if the item is a weapon, and it looks like weapon isn't imported, so let's go ahead and go to the top here, and let's do from lib dot, and we got weapons dot weapon import weapon. All right. We gotta do that import so we know what a weapon is. And now we can do an if statement right here. If the item is a weapon. So is a special keyword, all right? We've seen it used a bunch of times with none. I told you guys, everything is a class. Everything is an object. None is just like everything else. It's going to be a class type. So item is a weapon. This will only execute if the item itself is a weapon, right? If it's some type of weapon. So this is very, very useful, all right? Hopefully this is the syntax for it. We'll see in a second, because there's also another way you could do this, which is, I'm forgetting right now. It should be like dot subclass check. Yeah, so there's these functions here for getting the subclasses, all right? Well, that would be for that one. We'll see in here in a second. This should work, all right? This should work. So we can use this same logic for this next section, because we can say elif the item is a consumable. We don't have consumable in here, so let's scroll back up to the top and let's say from lib.consumables.consumable import consumable. All right, just another import statement. And then we can say if the item's a consumable, then add it, but add it slightly differently, right? Slightly differently. So we want the item's name again, but this time we know that the item is going to be a consumable. So we can say item.heal. Was it heal? Where is the consumable? All right, so it's consume. So item.consume, and so let's do item.consume right here, and we're supposed to pass it the player. So we'll say player right here. All right. So now, if it's a consumable and we select it, it's going to, well, when it's being added to the menu, it's going to have the name of the consumable. When we select this, it's going to run that consume function, and it's going to pass in the player, right? It's going to pass in the player. So this should work, theoretically. Let's see. Let's see. And then we'll do another recap here, right? Just in case some of y'all are lost. So let's go and start the game. All right. looks like our menu is printing out here successfully. Our menu is printing out here successfully. This is a good sign, right? This is a good sign so far. Is it a good sign? No, this is not the menu. This is the... We should actually have an issue because we are not printing out the menu right now. This is the looting stuff. So let's go ahead and loot something. All right. It looks like everything's good. We looted successfully. It went to the player's inventory. It ran this logic just fine without an error. The only thing is we're not displaying the menu. So let's go ahead and stop this. At the end of us creating the menu, this is where we're going to want to then do the player inventory menu dot display menu and call that. Then we're going to want to get some user input. So let me go and copy this. And then we're going to want to pass that input to the menu and do run item and then user input. All right. Now we finished it up. So if I rerun this, let's go ahead and click on start game. Let's go ahead and pick up the dagger here. All right. And our inventory did not display correctly. Interesting. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's pick up the machine gun. All right. Looks like we have an issue where our inventory is still not displaying correctly. All right. Our inventory is still not displaying correctly. So I have an idea on what's going on here. But before we look at, move on that, what are some of your guys' ideas here on how you would go about figuring out what's wrong? How would you go about debugging this? Because remember, this is a bug right now. So we got to remove that bug. We got to debug our code. So yes, print statements are going to be extremely helpful for you guys. So the first thing, if I were you, I would check, we're seeing player's inventory get printed out. This is just making a blank new menu. This is doing a thing, we're not really seeing display menu, but it should be printing here if there's items in it. So maybe this isn't running properly, I don't know. Let's put a print statement in here that will run for every single item. And let's just say, is this working? This should print out every item in the for loop. All right, this should print out for every item in the for loop. So let's see if this for loop is even working in the first place. So if we run our game and we say start game, and then we pick up an item here, we see, is this working? Once, which means there is one item in our inventory. So since there is one item in our inventory and we are inside of this for loop, something is broken in this for loop. Specifically, it has to be something with our if statements. That's right, with our if statements here. Our if statements are broken. So we can say here, print is weapon, ? And the other one we can say print is consumable, ? Consumable. So now we see that we've gotten here. Let's see if we even get inside of these if statements. All right, let's see if we even get inside of these if statements. Let me close this and restart. We're going to start a game. We're going to loot our machine gun. Ooh, look at that. Some new information for us. Use your print statements to do debugging. It's very, very useful. All right, it's very, very useful. You can see there's an issue with our if statements here. With our if statements, because is not working as intended. All right, is not working as intended. All right, the reason why is not working as intended is I missaid what I said earlier. Is supposed to be for comparing if it's the same instantiated object in memory. If that sounds very high end, it's not. It's basically like this pin. All right, this pin is a instantiated object in the real world. What does instantiated mean? You guys use it all the time. You use init. Init means instantiate. It means create. This is a created object in the real world. All right. So when you do is, you're basically saying, is this pin itself? Well, yes, this pin is the pin. You're basically asking it if it's the same like created thing. So is not working right now for us. So if we are confused and we assume something like this would work, and we can see through our print statements here that something is not working, what do? That's right. We go to good old Google, all right? Or Bing, all right? Bing's getting hot right now, all right? Maybe I should start using Bing in these episodes moving forward, all right? So you Bing it, all right? We're going to Bing things today. We're still going to stick with Google because I've sold my soul to them, at least for now. I don't know. The world be a changing. That's all I got to say. We go to the interwebs, all right? We go to our Googles and we go about searching this up, all right? So let's go ahead and pull up the Googles, and we want to see in Python. So let's type in Python first. Let me zoom in here. Python first. How to how do we even say this? If object is class, or is an instance of the class. There we go. Python, check if object is class instance. All right. Class instance means it came from a class and it's an object, right, created from that class. It's an instance of that object. So we can use the isInstance function, all right? Use Google, all right? Google things. Let's click on this first link, all right? Let's click on this first link. And it says right here, we can say isInstance. All these ads. I thought I had ad blocker on. I do. All these dogs. They're getting past it. All right. So, they even have an example here of an if statement. All right. I don't know why it's a picture of an example, but it is. If we use this isInstance, all right, we say the object we want to compare to a class. So this would be what? This would be the item, and then this would be weapon. Or this would be the item, and this would be consumable. All right. So let's go through and look at the rest of this, because remember, you should always, even though you find the answer here, maybe there's some other good info, juicy info here. So let's see. Pass object to instance, specify the class or type that you want. All right. So, and then execute. It will return true or false, right? So this is going to return true or false. And they got some examples here, right? They got some examples here. So this is pretty neat. And this is starting to lag on me, my God. All right, they got lots of examples here that you can then look at and mess with, etc., etc., etc. So, and here's even an example here with inheritance, right? So with inheritance, so you can see they made this object called dev. So dev is an object, or a variable I should say, that was created from Python developer, right? From Python developer. When they ask, is dev an instance of Python developer? It says true, because it is. They also asked dev if it's an instance of developer, which it said true. What is developer? Well, it's a parent class of Python developer, because remember, developers incorporate a lot of people. A lot of people can be developers. They could be developers in C, Ruby. They could be like housing developers. All right. There's lots of people that fall underneath the term developer, but we get more specific here with Python developer. All right. So you will be able to see whether the object is of its current class, or and it will also reflect any of the parent classes it came from too. All right. So in here, we can now modify our if statements, all right? From this faulty logic to our new logic, to the is instance, all right? And it says here, we need object first, and then we need the class next. So we'll say item is the item an instance of weapon. And then right here, we'll do the same thing. Is instance, so is the item an instance of consumable? All right, so let's rerun this again. We're gonna keep our print statements, our debug statements in here. And so let's go ahead and I need to end the last game and then rerun this. So let's go into start our game. All right, we can pick up an item. Let's go pick up our knife. Ooh, and look at that. We see the player's inventory. We get is working printing out, which is one of our debug statements. Then we got is weapon printing out, which means it properly identified it was a weapon, which is good. And then we got knife printing out here, all right? So we can now switch our primary weapon to this knife. So if we press 0, this should switch our weapon to our knife. There we go. We should have, oh, look at that. Player attacks with a knife. This is working. We're doing the thing. It's doing it. This is doing it. All right. We can choose between a knife and a rusty sword. Let's just choose the rusty sword there. We don't want to choose any of these, so I'm just going to press enter. I don't want it. Oh, did we die? We must have died. Regardless, let's go ahead and trek along here, shall we? So these debug statements can be extremely useful. They're also kind of annoying when things are working because they're clogging up everything and it looks really busy. So this is where you can add some optional arguments to like your main right here, like debug mode equals false. So you can add a debug mode to your code. And basically you're going to wrap all of your debugging if statements, debugging print statements around an if statement. So you're going to put them all into if statements and they'll only print out if debugging is true. This will make your code a lot longer because you're going to have lots of places you could be logging things. But guess what? That's just how it is. All right. It just gets naturally longer if you want debugging stuff put into it. But now the bright side is you have debugging built into it. So you can just switch that on at any time and have it debug immediately. Or if you're launching this live and it's something that people download on their phone or whatever as an app, as a game, you may leave this on and have it log everything to their device or push it back to your main server. So that way, if there's a common issue that players keep running into, all of their debug statements will be pushed to you live and you can commonly see where everyone is running into issues. Additionally, if you want to be super malicious, you could use these debug statements to log information of your users, which pretty much every company in the world is doing. All right. So this is additionally how you could spy on people. All right. Using your debug statements. So let's see here. I didn't think about that. Haha. Therefore, I lost. No, that's that's not how that works. I will be when I use print statements next time I have. Yes, use print statements. Use them a lot, you guys. Use them a lot to help you figure out and see, because again, this type of programming is not very visually there or appealing, right? You can't really see much of what's going on. We're writing a lot of code here, and it's kind of just happening automatically, all right? If you're having trouble understanding what's going on, put print statements everywhere, right? Litter everything with print statements so you can visually see as much as possible what is happening, all right? What is happening. Are the languages we will go over through the course done in order of most requested / desired for fulfilling job positions? Yes and no. Python is top of the list for most required or desired right now. But C is C/C++ is pretty desired. It's more so we're only showing it to an extent so you understand what is going on under the hood. Specifically when we talk about pointers, it's very important you guys know this information. It's going to make you a better dev than any of your peers because you'll understand this much more about programming than they do. All right. So more so it's the conceptual things. Now, again, you've pretty much learned every programming language already. By learning Python, you've pretty much learned them all. All right. Because everything we've shown you from print statements to if statements is in every language. If you go to JavaScript, if you go to Java, if you go to C, if you go to Golang, if you go to Rust, if you go to C#, literally name a language, they're going to have print statements, they're going to have if statements, they're going to have while loops, they're going to have variations of while loops and for loops, I should say, but they'll have either both of them or just one of them. They're going to have pretty much everything we've talked about, right? So it's not like you learning English, Spanish, and Chinese where they're all completely different. No, it's one language basically with different slangs. All right, it's like if you know English and you go to the American South, they're going to speak English slightly different, but it's still English. If you go to England, they're going to speak English. It's slightly different, but it's English. If you go to Australia, they're going to speak English. Slightly different, but it's English. All right, you learn one language, you learn them all. All right, it's one ring to rule them all. All right, Python's just one of the easiest to get into. Additionally, it runs pretty much everything that runs the modern day world. All right, especially machine learning. Pretty much all machine learning is done in Python. There, of course, you can do it in C++, which isn't that popular. All right, it's popular when you want to do optimization after the fact, but most machine learning is going to be done in Python. All right, and you guys can kind of see machine learning is or AI, whatever you want to call it, is some people would say it's growing in popularity. Me myself, I don't know. I feel like it might be dying a little bit. So yes, auto magically. Oh no, I said that on purpose. All right, so the last thing to do here is we're not going to see any consumables pop up because we don't have consumables in the drop tables. So to get the consumables to show up, we just need to add them to the drop table. So if we go to our goblin here, I'm going to change all of these consumables to a potion so we can just test that real quick. So it's okay to comment your code and then change everything to something else just to test something and then change it back. So if we do consumables.consumable import, actually we want to import .potion. Import potion. All right, so we want to import our potion. Let's make our potion here, and our potion doesn't take anything. All right, so now goblins will always drop a potion. So let's rerun our game real quick. All right, so start the game. Let's see this. All right, they have a potion here, so let's pick up the potion. All right, we've picked up the potion. Is consumable printed out? So our potion is working. We have the potion in the inventory. The last question is, I guess, will it heal us? All right, will it heal us? So it says we're currently at 20. We attacked, but the goblin attacked us once. I think the goblin does 5 damage or whatever. How much does our potions heal us for right now? 20. Okay, so we should be back at full health if this works right. We should be back at full health, and when it says the next level, so it's going to print level 1, and then it's going to print our player's current health. It should still be at 20. It should not be over 20, which means our healing logic is wrong because we've overhealed ourselves. It should be exactly at 20. So let's see here. Let's do 0, press enter, and look at that. We're at 20, which means things are working correctly. All right. if we go along here, let's pick up some weapons. We're not going to do anything with those. Let's pick up our potion. Oh, we just finished level 2, which means the next one is going to be a boss. So let's drink up our potion. Hopefully we can kill the boss here. And let's press enter. All right, we went full health to the boss and we died. Damn. We probably need a better weapon. So now you can start really building the strategy for your games. I'm going to comment out these debugging statements here because they're kind of annoying. Specifically for your strategy, let's go to mobs here, or our goblin here. Let's say we have our dagger, and let's say our dagger does, I don't know, 10 damage. So you can they'll either drop a dagger or they'll drop a potion. So now when we run this game, we have some. Oh wait, I think we did kill the boss. No, we didn't kill the boss. So now we have some RNG in our game because of the randomness. So now we have some of the addicting replayability thing already built into our game here, because we can start our game. It's very quick to play, and it's all RNG. So look, we got a dagger. We need the dagger to finish off the next boss. All right, we need the dagger in order to kill the next boss because we need that extra damage. So let's go ahead and grab that dagger. Knowing that we need extra damage, I'll go ahead and equip this right now. So that way when we get a potion, look at that, we just got a potion. We can keep that potion in our inventory till we finish level 2. So that way we can heal before level 3. So we'll have enough health to kill the boss. So now we press enter. We're at level 2. All right, I'll go and pick up a spare dagger, I guess. We're in our inventory. We know level 3 is next. The boss will spawn. So let's go ahead and heal up because we're at 10 health. We fought. We're probably at like 5 health. So let's go to max health. Let's use 1. Press enter. Bam. We fought. We attacked Cedar. It looks like we still died. Damn. All right. Cedar's a little too tanky. So now we got to do some balancing. All right. We need to do some balancing. And in this, again, we have a completed game. Right? We have our completed game here. Visuals are their own thing. It's great to have someone else, you know, if you're wanting to make your own company, it's best to get someone else dedicated to the visuals, because you're not, as a programmer, you're not programming visuals. You're sitting there modeling, painting, drawing. All right? You need to be an artist for that. For balancing, you can balance yourself as a developer. That's just fine. But balancing is just some high school basic work, right? It's not a complex job. You don't need to go to college for it. You can hire someone straight out of high school or elementary school to do balancing. It's just tweaking of numbers. You're going to sit there. You're going to be like, oh, the weapon damage should be increased. All the weapon damage should be decreased. And you should look at or ask for statistics. So as players play your game, you'll be collecting all that data of, you know, how many are dying when, what's the pass rate for every level, etc., and you basically adjust your numbers on that. You as a developer, it's best if you can just stay focused to writing more code. All right, writing more code, writing, you know, new bosses, new logic, new consumables, new stuff. So, and offload the balancing and so forth to maybe your friends. Maybe to your friend that's good with digital modeling, they can make the display, etc. And this isn't just for games, this goes for any type of product. You're wanting to launch an enterprise product to make you tens of millions of dollars from selling your product to companies. Have a friend or someone you pay to do the front end, to do the graphics. Have someone else you pay in order to do the balancing. The balancing in this case would be analysis, looking at the data, crunching the numbers, etc., and figure out what needs to be tweaked, maybe on the pricing. Maybe they can figure out what should be added next in the game or in your program, etc. The concept, whether it's games or anything else, it's the same, right? It's the same. Try to stick as much to programming, because that's where your time is going to be most effective as a developer. All right. Any questions on that? Wait, did we kill the cedar? Did we kill the cedar? It didn't let us pick up anything. It just says the player's inventory. Can I? Oh, we did kill Cedar. Oh, never mind. We did pass. Oh, look at that. We made it. So now we can go to the next boss. All right. I won't pick up. Oh, I should have picked up the potion. Let's enter. All right. We know level 6 is gonna be the next boss. Let's drink the potion. Oh, we killed the Dark Death. Look at that. We're overpowered. We're killing all these bosses. Look at that. That's pretty awesome, right? That's pretty awesome. So I'm gonna close that out. What questions do you guys have right now? I guess before questions, sorry. Time to git commit. Git add all. Make sure we're in the right directory. Let me go into the dungeon crawler. Git add all. Git commit. All right. And then we're gonna say that we added consumables and using items in inventory. Close, git push. There we go. We've pushed up our update. Remember, we were making this game for our customer. Sorry, I was blanking on the word for a second. So now I think this game's almost, or if not right now, stable enough to release to the customer. So we could go through the whole process of merging it to main and releasing it. We've kind of gone over the hour mark here. I don't want to go too much longer, so you guys can do the assignment, the challenge here, and then we can continue tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to do our chill Q&A. So just do the assignment, find questions, things you're not clear on, and let's chat about it. Additionally, for Monday, please. For Monday, most of my bugs have just been a typo or missing/misplaced symbol. That's right. Most of the bugs will just be that, all right? Most of the bugs will just be like that. So don't worry, don't feel bad. I mean, I did it here live on stream several times, all right? It happens, all right? It happens. The big thing is, as you develop more, just bringing that error rate, you know, how many times you mess up on things like that, just down, lower, the percentage wise, you know, that's the big thing, right? But don't worry, it never really goes to zero, right? It will always be there. It will always happen to you. Monday, we're going to start with C, all right? We're going to start with C development. So I'm going to put this link into the description. Okay, this is confusing. You can blame Microsoft, all right? They're not really known for being the most non-confusing company, all right? This editor we are in right now is called Visual Studio Code. 3 words, Visual Studio Code, also known as VSC, right? This is just a text editor. Right? It's just a text editor. It's good for a lot of languages and it's very, very popular. It's just a text editor. All right? Visual Studio, not Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio is an IDE for doing things like .NET and C++ development. All right? So even this is confusing because this is showing up when we type in Visual Studio. We don't want Visual Studio Code. We want Visual Studio when we start programming in C. So I need you guys to download Visual Studio, do the Community Edition, right? The Community Edition. So you see here, there's going to be Community, Professional, Enterprise. Download Community Edition of Visual Studio. Not Visual Studio Code, Visual Studio, all right? When you install this, it should be pretty much straightforward. Let me see if I can continue. It's going to be a pretty big program. I would highly recommend installing it today or tomorrow. Additionally, I think there will be option. Anytime you see an option for C++, God, I'm just going crazy here. C++, okay, so you'll get this screen that pops up. Look for C++ in here. So if we look right here, all right, does this see C++? All right, this might be hard for some of you guys to see here. This does not say C++ anywhere, so don't worry about it. Go to the next one. Does this say C++? No. Does this one say C++? No. Keep going through till you find the one that says C++. So specifically, there's going to be two. So in desktop and mobile, all right, there's going to be one here called desktop development with C++. So we're going to click on that one. And there's going to be another thing here called Universal Windows Platform Development. And this will have some C++ lingo in here also. I don't think this one's required, but safer than not, click on this. If you're on Mac OS, you most likely won't get this option. You're just looking for the desktop development with C++ option. All right. Don't worry about the rest of this stuff. Don't do game development with C++. We're not doing that. Unless you want to explore it yourself, you can download it. We're not doing that. We're not doing mobile development either with C++. We're only doing desktop development with C++. And then you can also get the Universal Windows Platform. And then click on install. It's going to be 21 gigs. All right. Pretty big. Pretty big. All right. Why do you have all these options? Great question. Visual Studio is a massive program. It can do a lot of stuff. It's really, really good. All right. They utilize this to build operating systems. All right. Like Windows. It can do a lot of stuff and very, very well. It's a whole IDE. All right. IDE, again, integrated development environment. It's like every bell and whistle you can possibly have in the developer world. It's integrated in it. It supports a lot of different languages. We don't care about them. We only care about C++. If you can download more of these, it's just going to increase the size of what you're going to be installing. All right. So I would recommend just those two. Any questions on that? We'll go over this again tomorrow. All right. Computer protection services may need to be called one of these days. When that happens, services. Why are you just destroying your computer right now? So for you guys' challenge, I want you guys to modify the drop table here for a goblin. You know, maybe add one more item in here along with the potion, and spend a little bit time doing some balancing so you can get to, it's a little bit more of a struggle, a little bit more RNG-ish to get past the first boss and maybe the second boss. Don't really worry too much about there, but you know, mess with balancing so you can see that it's just adjusting numbers, right? And then, God, what was the other thing? Oh, then I want you guys to thoroughly test your program. Put in incorrect input. Right? Testing is a part of your job, right? A good developer is going to test their stuff. A shittier developer is going to have someone else test their shit. All right? Some companies, it's pretty common to have a testing team who will test all of your stuff for you. You should know what's going to go wrong, and you are responsible for your bad code. All right? This will also teach you what you're doing wrong, so that way next time you build something, you'll remember. This will typically be with the bad input. All right? So anywhere we're getting input from the display menu could potentially be something that's wrong. So just play your game, basically, is what I'm saying. Play your game, test it, put in weird characters, say negative numbers, maybe clean up the look of it a little bit, and then I want you to merge it to main, do a pull request so it merges into the main branch, and then I want you, after it's merged, I want you to tag it and give it like a release name. Call it version 2.0 or 10.0, wherever you want to call it, all right? And give it some release notes on GitHub, right? So utilizing GitHub. So again, recap. Play your game. Do some balancing. As long as the game is playable, balancing is up to you. But mess with it, play it, make sure there's no bugs, and then I want you to release it. I want you to merge it into the main, all right, into the main branch, and then tag it, and then do a release with some notes. Any questions with that? I'm gonna wait like 30 more seconds to see if there's any questions. If not, we're gonna call it for today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on our chill day. All right, tomorrow's just gonna be our chill day. Says, just keep in mind how good it feels when you finally get the issues fixed. Get it fixed and see your code work. Oh yeah, that's the dopamine rush, all right? When you're doing something and it causes an issue, and then you sit there and you fix, and you're just going at it, you're about to break your computer, smash the keyboard, and then it works. And you're like, I did it. I did it. I did it. I'm a winner. All right, sweet. I don't see any questions rolling in. So if you do have questions, drop them into the 100 Days of Rootkit text channel. All right. Let us know. Show off what you've done. Show us, your completed project. GitHub is, or what do you call it? You're gonna have to zip this up. So if you want to show this off and drop your whole entire game, find your folder. Zip it up, so wherever it says the send to compressed zip folder, right? Zip it up and then drop it into the 100 days chat, all right? And I'll download, run it, check it out, see how you did, all right? So do that, all right? Show off what you guys done. Be proud, all right? And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next one.